One of the mistakes was that there was no water.
Akhmat was taking the water. They shot people, they fought. The video shows one of the contract soldiers of the Russian 30th Motor Rifle Regiment who recounts the details of the so-called Operation Stream in the Kursk region. According to him, Akhmat fighters from the blocking units took away water and food intended for those in front. While some crawled through the pipe without supplies, others in the rear engaged in looting. Those who did not want to give up their provisions were shot.
One of the mistakes was that there was no water. There was no water in the tunnel.
Listen, what happened there? So when the riggers started going into the water well, it takes about 2 or 3 days to get there. That is, people couldn't wait there. They were digging slowly, without water, without anything, just to get out, to at least catch some air. Everyone was getting out. The water didn't reach. Why? Who was taking away Akhmat? You're carrying, right? If we were carrying 30 each. You meet everyone there.
You won't get them to drink, damn it. The clothes, of course, you damn.
And more than 5 bottles, even 5 bottles, is a lot. And on the way, as I said, and there Akhmat was dealing with it, they were shot at, they fought, took away water, backpacks, food, and you start wanting to eat. And they just took it like that. With what? There aren't any people left, they begin to lose their minds.
There's no oxygen, damn. I inhale gas, damn.
For whom there? For their own. Are you kidding me? And it started there, I said, and they were shooting.
Operators of the Ukrainian Areg Team unit of Ukraine's Special Operations Forces have destroyed a rare Russian remote mine-laying system known as Zemlyadelye. A video of the strike was published on the unit's official Telegram channel. The system was spotted on one of the front lines while it was operating near Ukrainian positions. Ukrainian forces then launched a targeted hunt using FPV drones. After initial drone strikes, the Russian vehicle attempted to flee along a nearby highway but failed to escape. One of the drones struck the cab, immobilizing the vehicle. Additional drone strikes then set the system on fire, destroying the cab. The fate of the Russian crew remains unknown. The Zemlyadelye is a combat vehicle mounted on an 8-wheeled armored Kamaz chassis and equipped with 2 pods holding 25 missiles each. The system is designed to rapidly deploy minefields in high-risk areas at a range of 5 to 15 kilometers. It launches rockets that scatter mines across designated zones. Ukrainian defense company STG Defense has presented a new camouflage poncho designed to shield soldiers from detection by thermal imaging and night vision devices. The system was presented at the Brave One Connect Defense Technology event. STG Defense shared with Militarny that the project emerged after studying international analogs, which typically cost upwards of $2,000, a price point considered too high for large-scale use by Ukrainian forces. In response, STG Defense developed its own solution in partnership with Ukraine's Central Directorate for the Development and Support of Material Support. The result is a cost-effective poncho that combines innovative materials and manufacturing technologies. The core of the design is a metallized nylon fabric embedded with silver crystals, which provides both thermal regulation and protection from thermal imaging surveillance. The material can either retain body heat or disperse it through designated zones, while also reflecting infrared radiation, making the soldier's outline less visible on night vision systems. This dual-function system, thermal regulation and IR reflection, significantly reduces the wearer's visibility to modern surveillance tools. Field tests are currently underway, and the poncho has already received positive technical feedback. STG Defense expects approval from Ukraine's Ministry of Defense for wider deployment. The company emphasized that the poncho's effectiveness depends on proper usage, including considerations of weather and seasonal conditions. Last year, Ukraine's Ministry of Defense announced its support for the development of anti-thermal vision capes, with requirements including flexible, weather-resistant materials that retain camouflage effectiveness in various terrain and lighting conditions. CNN reports that Trump did not order a halt to U.S. weapons deliveries to Ukraine. After the NATO summit, he tasked Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth with assessing stockpiles. However, the decision to pause shipments was made by Hegseth himself, following a recommendation from Pentagon political chief Elbridge Colby.
Yeah, please.
Sir, yesterday you said that you were not sure who ordered the munitions halted to Ukraine. Have you since been able to figure that out?
Well, I haven't thought about it because we're looking at Ukraine right now and munitions, but I have not gone into it.
What does it say that such a big decision could be made inside your government without you knowing?
I would know. If a decision was made, I will know. I'll be the first to know. In fact, most likely I'd give the order, but I haven't done that yet. Yeah, please.
Peskov said that the Kremlin has no disagreements with the White House amid negotiations with Ukraine.
There are no disagreements here. There is a desire to truly resolve the issue of policy through diplomatic means and to do so very quickly. However, the complexity of the substance, the complexity of the issue, unfortunately doesn't allow for an instantaneous resolution. That's why, as you know, certain work has already been done. 2 very difficult rounds have taken place. We expect that the third one will take place and that the dialogue will continue. We still need to start discussing the memorandums that we've exchanged. This will also be a very complex process, one that will not happen overnight or in a single day.
Attention, Germany. Russian propagandist Solovayev threatens that Russian soldiers will march into Berlin again and will not leave. Only this time, he says, there will be a nuclear wasteland instead of a city.
You hear me, you Nazis come? And who blew up the Nord Stream pipelines? Complete silence. But they talk about cables in the Baltic Sea instead.
Just a minute, but you conducted an investigation. It turned out that the Russians have nothing to do with it at all.
But it turns out that the Russians are always involved in something. That is, the Germans followed the usual path, which always ends the same way, with the march of Russian soldiers in Berlin. This always ended the same way. I just hope this time we've learned all the historical lessons. Therefore, when we start marching, well, when they disperse, when it's safe, when the Shishimi, the Shiki, when radiation levels return to normal, then we'll quietly, carefully station our small garrison there. Because why have a large garrison in a nuclear wasteland? And from there we will never leave. Because this time Vladimir Vladimirovich clearly stated, where the Russian soldier has stepped, that's ours. What can we do? They can't manage on their own. What to do?
And from the other news. In Mexico, the La Linea cartel has launched a drone strike against the Sinaloa cartel, using a drone equipped with a munition-dropping system. User War Noir shared the footage of the attack. The incident marks yet another case of drone warfare between rival cartels, this time in the northern Mexican state of Chihuahua. Militants of the La Linea group, the armed wing of the Juarez cartel, carried out an aerial strike on members of the Sinaloa cartel. The use of drones to drop explosives is becoming increasingly common among armed non-state actors, both in intergroup conflicts and by anti-government paramilitary forces. Militarny previously reported that the Kurdistan Workers' Party has begun deploying FPV drones with fiber optic control in operations against the Turkish military. The drone was equipped with an improvised explosive device which detonated after hitting the position. The delivery of the new nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, USS John F. Kennedy, to the U.S. Navy has been delayed by 2 years. The U.S. Naval Institute reported on this. The delay is due to technical challenges in integrating advanced systems, including the electromagnetic catapult, weapons elevators, and other innovations. Instead of the originally planned 2025, the carrier will now join the fleet in 2027. This will result in a temporary reduction in the number of aircraft carriers in the U.S. Navy from 11 to 10 for at least 1 year. The situation is further complicated by a shortage of qualified specialists and delays in component supply. Similar issues are currently affecting the Columbia-class submarine construction program. Due to the delay in the delivery of the USS John F. Kennedy, the Navy will be forced to decommission the aging USS Nimitz earlier as it nears the end of its service life. This means that, for the first time in decades, the United States will temporarily operate with only 10 aircraft carriers, potentially limiting its ability to respond swiftly to crises in various parts of the world, particularly in the Asia-Pacific region. The U.S. Navy has stated that it is already reviewing the aircraft carrier rotation schedule and plans to optimize fleet deployment to minimize the impact of the reduced number of operational warships. It is important to note that, as of today, the U.S. shipbuilding industry is facing significant challenges. Chief among them are difficulties in planning and a critical shortage of skilled specialists. Additional complications stem from the lack of operational reliability in many systems, which has led to significant delays particularly in the construction of new nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines. Militarny previously reported that the U.S. defense industry is also encountering problems with the implementation of the Navy's large-scale Constellation-class frigate program. Currently, the program is running 3 years behind schedule, which is already a critical factor in the U.S. Navy's expansion efforts amid strategic competition with China's rapidly growing fleet.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.